Today, I want to discuss the United States debt situation and concerns that Democrat leaders are raising against the next infrastructure spending bill. I also want to talk about a potential fourth stimulus check. I'll also be talking about the biggest worry among wealthy investors for all Americans going forward, and a newly released intelligence report sheds light on some sobering information I believe everyone needs to pay attention to. Hello and welcome to today's April 13th daily news report, as well as stimulus check information. If you're a subscribed member of my community, then welcome back. And if you're not, consider subscribing right now. All right. Now, just a reminder before I jump into the video, my wife and I are giving away over $2,000 in prizes and cash. You could get one of these amazing hats, and 4 people are going to have some surprise money thrown in with their hat when it arrives. So I'm super excited. That ends in 2 days, so the 15th at midnight. All right, now a group of bipartisan leaders in the House of Representatives are becoming increasingly worried about the amount of debt the United States has taken on in the last couple of years, with in addition to the new $4 trillion infrastructure bill that is being discussed right now. This week, the U.S. national debt surpassed $28 trillion. Government leaders say this means that the U.S. Is essentially $85,210 in debt for every living American citizen. Now, when the government starts referencing the U.S. debt per citizen, it personally makes me think, I didn't ask you to go into debt on my behalf. I didn't ask you to go to war on my behalf. And I didn't ask you to send foreign countries money on my behalf, right? I hate when they start saying, this is your debt, this is your debt. You're the ones that took on the debt, and now you're trying to put it on to the American citizens. Now, Senator Angus King, an independent from the state of Maine, that typically votes with Democrats, is putting out a warning call to his fellow government leaders, saying we have a big spending problem, and if the interest rates rise, the United States will not be able to afford the interest-only payments they owe. He then said the United States is not only spending his generation's money too fast, but also our children's generation's money too fast. King took a stab at Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and President Joe Biden when he said, it's a cheap time to borrow, and some people are using that as a reason to borrow. The problem that comes is our interest rate flow. The U.S. has the ultimate adjustable rate mortgage, which is the rate can change. And if the rate goes back to 4 to 5%, which is where it has been historically, we're in a heap of fiscal trouble. The math is pretty easy. Every 1% is $250 billion a year in interest cost. So 4% is $1 trillion, and 5% is $1.25 trillion of interest-only payments, which happens to be the entire current discretionary federal budget. So basically, Senator King is saying we're at a point where all of the money that we budget to set aside to run the United States makes up for the entire interest-only payment if they raise interest rates, which they are saying they're going to have to do at some point. So he's very nervous about what's going on in the United States. Democrat Representative Dean Phillips of Minnesota said to think of it this way: if we took all the money from the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, it would only cover a few months of the interest-only payments we owe. That's how big the debt and the interest payment problem has become. Now, Phillips then warned that we need to take serious the monetary policies of the United States of America, because if foreign investors decide the United States is no longer a safe bet, it's all over. The country will crumble and fall apart if we lose that worldwide trust. Okay? So it seems that not all Democrats are on board with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi on the infrastructure spending bill. Now, for the worries of Wall Street, many big investors like Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, and Peter Schiff are saying that inflation is going to really hurt in the near future. They say that the gap between the rich and the poor is going to grow because everything is about to become more expensive due to inflation. Now, let me ask my community, are you seeing the rising costs of goods and services where you live? Or are they staying steady and haven't hit yet? Let me know. Let me know in the comments, okay? Also, I just want to say thank you so much for always liking these news broadcasts. I love bringing my community the news, good or bad, right? All right, now let me update you on the potential fourth stimulus check. If it is going to happen, it would most likely be put into the $2.3 trillion infrastructure spending bill that will be discussed and voted on in the month of May. Or it could have a second shot of being put into the second $2 trillion spending bill, which won't be discussed until July. That one is being called a social infrastructure spending bill. So not bridges or roads or airports, but social issues. Like they could be discussing UBI, free community college, help for people that have children, daycare, maternity leave, things like that would be put into that second infrastructure spending bill. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up in my community that this fourth stimulus check is going to happen. But I do want to let you know it is being discussed among many members of Congress. And because it's being presented in the news, I'm presenting it here to you, okay? Okay, now also, I'd like to know from my community, what is your biggest financial fear right now and in the next 12 months? Is it food? Is it keeping a roof over your head? Is it the amount of debt that you're carrying? Maybe I didn't list your greatest financial fear. Will you please let me know in the comments? That lets me know where to go with education and resources to be helpful to people in my community. So please let me know in the comments. Now, according to a news report on CNN, President Joe Biden said he would not be able to keep the promise of President Trump to bring troops home from Afghanistan in the month of May. However, he said perhaps by September, and maybe we can celebrate the end of this 20-year war. It's hard to believe that we've had troops at war in Afghanistan for 20 years now. That's crazy. All right, now a new U.S. intelligence report is predicting that the worst effects of the worldwide pandemic haven't even been felt yet and will be devastating because they will have to do with economic issues, a downturn in jobs and job stability, and disrupted supply chains. According to this report, the world might be in for a difficult decade as countries grapple with technology replacing human workers, feeding the world population, poverty, illness, supply chain issues. These are all things that this report outlines that these people looking into the future are very concerned about, right? And these are concerns that I've shared with my community. Right now, the pandemic, all of these wealthy companies went out and replaced human workers with robots and artificial technology. That's only going to exponentially increase. So then the question becomes, what do humans do for work? How do we provide for ourselves and our families, right? So that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. Now, the report also lays out the real issues the U.S. might be facing with China and Russia as these two countries fight to take their place as the world's superpower, the reserve currency or the money that the world depends on, and also control of the supply chain. Right now, China is controlling the supply chain in almost every country. Europe, Africa, the United States. They are quietly coming in and taking over all of the supply chains, okay? So this is a report that I'll continue to look at and bring information. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but this is the reality that we're all living through as citizens of the United States. And so I feel I owe it to share this information with my community, okay? Now, the state of Florida is suing the CDC over allowing companies to get back to cruising and sailing, right? Cruise lines are a big money maker for the country and also the Florida economy and employ tens of thousands of people. So the governor of Florida is suing the CDC to get cruise ships moving again. All right, now let's end this on a little bit lighter news. According to sources close to former President Trump, Trump wants the new vaccines to be named Trump-cines. Now, I don't know if this is true. I'm not claiming that it is, but it was in the news, and I found it to be funny that he wants it to be named Trump-cines, right? Okay. Anyway, this is my update for today. As I know more, I will certainly come on and share more, especially about stimulus, the economy, what's going on. I'll be on later tonight with a funnier news broadcast about maybe some of the crazy stories that you've missed in the news over the last few days. Now, before you go, do make sure to check out that giveaway. My wife and I are giving away over $2,000 in prizes and cash as a way of saying thank you for being members of our YouTube community. As I wrap up, I just wish to remind you that you are amazing. I appreciate you being in my community, and I'll see you on the next video.